first day off, when we started now the class, Jesus. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for sharing with your friends, and thank you for the for the continued support. I really appreciate each one of you. So first of all, let me apologize for not being so active. You all know the life in Europe, it's not easy, especially as a mom, full-time mom, a full-time nurse. So let's get started. Today I have a very interesting video for you guys. I'm going to talk about my nursing studies here in Germany and how it all started and my experience. First of all, let me start by saying that nursing was a career that I really admired since I was a child. You know, those days we used to say, oh, I want to be a pilot, oh, I want to be a doctor, and all this. I used to love nursing because I grew up in the hospital. My mom was working in the hospital too, and the smell of the hospital was something so nice for me. I used to go to the hospital and follow my mom when she was working. I would go in the ward, I would just check her out. So that is how I grew up. That is where my roots started of this nursing career. Then I came to Germany, and then when I came to Germany, first of all, the language was the biggest barrier for me. You know, I didn't know where to start, but I was so thirsty of this career, and I knew this is what I want to do. Nothing could have stopped me. I used to do applications in most of the hospitals. I would just go and try and volunteer there and show them that I'm interested. But those days I was living in a village, so it was so difficult for me as an African to come through and get the nursing course there. So then I moved to the big city, and then things changed because the first time, I think I moved here around November, and then by January I had a place in the hospital where I could go and do my practicals. It was something that was really motivating for me. So guys, one tip: if you're living in a village, my people, especially my African people, you're living in a village and really you don't get job, it is so difficult for you to come through and all this. And it's possible also to, if it's possible to move, just move to a bigger city near you. Believe you me, it's gonna change your life, because in the village it was so depressing. You know, you just send your applications and they just watch it and they don't even reply to you. So I moved to the nearest city and I was so happy. I got the place to go and do my practicals in a hospital. It was an evangelic hospital, I don't know how you say it in English. So I did my application there, and then they just invited me for the practicals. I remember that time when my daughter was in the kindergarten. For the practicals, actually they don't do a lot of stress. They just called me and told me you can come and start in 2 weeks time, and then your working hours will be from this time and this time. Yeah, I did the practical there for 4 weeks, and I used to get some money. I used to get like 308 euros a month. It was okay because it was not a job application. It was just a practical for me to see how life is in the hospital, what nurses used to do, you know. And it is so encouraging to do these practicals. So when you do these practicals, you really broaden your view of this nursing thing. I had a nice time there. I did it and it was really interesting for me. And when I did this practical, I was like, yes, this is my work and this is what I've been dreaming to do. What I did is, in the same hospital, I did my application, you know, to go and study there as a nurse. So I did the application while it's still inside the hospital, because at least they gave me a reference letter to say that I was there for 4 weeks. But when you're on the ground, this is where you plant your roots. So do the application immediately when you're inside there, because they know, okay, this girl is in this ward and she's applying for this thing. So you have more chances when you're on the ground, guys, because the moment you finish your practicals and you go, they might even forget who you are. But when you're on the ground, even the best thing is you do the application. This is what I did, really. I did the application, then I went to the office. I asked the nurses there, where is the office of the of the boss, where I can apply for this for the studies. And they told me this is the office and all this. I went personally there and I represented my papers. And I remember this woman, she was such a lovely lady. She was in many countries in Africa, including Kenya, and she really loved our African mentality and our African life back home. So when I brought the papers, she was so happy to see me. You could not imagine the whole office. She had all those Maasai things standing there, and she was so happy to see me. So when I gave her the application, guys, it was like kind of, I'm gonna work this out for you. It's not bribing, but it is what it is. I trusted myself and I went to her. If I didn't go to her and just drop the application, she would not even have known me personally. Then, of course, before you do the application, if you're coming from outside, you're a foreigner, you bring in your certificates from your own country. So you have to translate these certificates in German. You know how Germans are. You have to send them to a place. Those offices are called Anerkennungsstelle. You have to go and send those papers there. Those Anerkennungsstelle, they are all over Germany. You have to check who takes the Kenyan certificates. If you're coming from another country, who takes my country's certificates, and then you have to send those certificates there. They are going to kind of give you the qualification, the German qualification, according to the certificate that you brought in. I'm going to write down on the description box what I mean, yeah? And then when you send those papers to the Anerkennungsstelle, they are going to translate them. They are going to give you them, the qualification that you have here in Germany. So this is what I did before I did the application. So after that, when I did the application, the waiting time was around, I would say, like 6 to 7 weeks before I got a letter to say whether I'm taking or I'm not taking. Yeah. During this week waiting time, after I did the practicals, I also talked to one of the offices there in the hospital, and I asked them, oh, maybe do you have a small job for me, because I want to still stay here. I feel so comfortable. So the office gave me some work. I was in the registration downstairs. It was like when the patients come in the hospital, they have to register themselves before they go and see a doctor. I stayed there. I was so familiar there, and I also got to see patients with the kind of complications they come with in the hospital. So it was a very nice time for me. So during this time of waiting, I was still working in the hospital, so I was really feeling at home. I got the letter to say that I have been admitted. Then they gave me a long list of everything they needed from me, starting from the passport pictures, starting from the good conduct certificate. It's called Führungszeugnis here in Germany. You can get it from Rathaus. You can get it from any office in Germany. Good conduct is really important. That's why I used to say every day that, especially we foreigners, whether you're taking a train, whether you're taking a bus, just buy your tickets. Try to follow the rules of the country you're living in, so that your good conduct will always be positive. And then they need the health certificate to show that you're okay and everything is okay with you. You don't have any kind of sicknesses that you could infect the patients that you're going to take care of in the future. So after the admission letter, they give you that long list. You have time, to take care of all those things. Actually, the admission letter came like 6 months before we started now the studies. So you have like 6 months time to take care of all those things, to organize whatever you have to organize, especially as a mom. You have to, you know, try and organize who is going to take care of this child when I'm working, because remember, as a nurse, and especially when you're studying, when you're in the hospital, you have to work morning shifts, you have to work afternoon shifts, and also the night shifts. Okay, the night shifts comes really late, maybe from the second year of your study, but those are the kind of small things that in this time you can organize and really be prepared before the studies start. Try and make sure that everything that you need for your studies is really ready. Buy those blocks, buy those books that you need, not the study books, because the study books, they are going to talk about them when you start the study, the first day of your school. The school is going to give you the kind of books that they are going to be using, so don't buy books before. So our school here started in September, 1st of September. So there are some schools also, they used to start in April. We had the admission letter and all these things. So before all those time, they called us also, they invited us to go and do some pictures and all these things, you know, for the card, for our working cards. Let's go to the first day I sat in the class to study nursing here in Germany. Oh my God. I don't want to scare you guys, but I remember when we went to the school, we were supposed to be there by 8 a.m. We went, and then we were like 100 students who were starting on that day. We were like five Africans in the class. On that first day, we just bumped in the school and we were standing, and you know, like in Kenya we used to call them mono, yeah, when you're starting some studies, especially in high school. I was standing there and 100 people came, and we was like, oh my God, how are they going even to separate us? So they separated us in 3 classes, and these 3 classes, everybody got their class and their class teacher, and then the class teacher came in, I remember, and then she said that we should introduce ourselves. So we started from one edge and came all around and introduced ourselves, and where we are coming from, and you know what made us you know, kind of take this nursing career. So it was very interesting to know people, and then she gave us also some papers to write down our names. So we put the names in front for everybody to see your name, because you can't just know everybody in one day. So, and then she explained to us the kind of books we are going to use. She explained to us how things are going to be. Remember, in Germany, as a nurse, you have to, when you're studying, you study, and then you have to do practicals also in the hospital parallel. It's like you study for 1 month, and then 1 month you're in the hospital. You study 1 month, 2 months you're in the hospital. So the required studying hours are 2,100 theory studying hours, and for the practicals, if I'm not wrong, 2,500 practical hours. Of course, as a trainee, as a nursing trainee, you definitely get paid. Our time, the first payment was like 790, almost 800 euros a month. By the end of the 3 years, we got to 1,200. Yeah, 1,200 a month. Many of you have been asking, how much do you earn as a nurse and all these things. What I can say, earning, and in German they used to say, über Gehalt redet man nicht, oder spricht man nicht. Because your earning as a nurse, as a qualified nurse, it depends with what other courses have you taken to improve your nursing career. Where do you work? How did you negotiate when you're going to take this job? We might be in the same institution, but I'm getting like 3,000 euros a month and you are getting 2,500. So it really depends with many factors. Which Steuerklasse are you? The tax class. Which tax class are you? How many kids do you have? Because when you have kids, you pay less tax. Yeah. If you don't have kids, of course you pay more tax. So this thing of how much do a nurse earn, I can say it's starting from 2,500 going up. If it's down, it depends also with the kind of contract you signed with the hospital. Try and check. There are small things that you might maybe have signed and you didn't know, and they drain all the money that you're supposed to be getting. Sorry for going to that, to that side of how much a nurse earns, but it's part of it. I had to tell you how much a nurse earns when they're doing their course. The first day off, when we started now the class, Jesus, first of all, the language, my friend, it was not a joke. I remember we sat down and this teacher came and she was like, yeah, we're starting with anatomy. We are going to start with the heart in German, heart not in English the way we did it, the biology classes in Kenya. I knew a lot of things because even I tried to learn before her. I tried to check some things before her. But my dear brothers and sisters, hey, I was sitting in the class and I could just hear words flowing. Have you ever sat in a class and you're like, what did you say? Before you say what did you say, she has already gone to the next topic, and I'm like, Jesus, how am I going to make it? How am I even gonna make it in these 3 nursing years? For me, it was like I was lost. I was actually so lost in the class. I was like, are you sure you're gonna make it? Are you sure this is what you wanted? When you're sitting in the class, these German kids, because for me they are kids. When I was doing my nursing career, I was already a mom. And for them, they are just the youngest one was 16 years old. 16. He started the nursing career with us, and they were just lifting their eyes and saying blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh Jesus, where am I? I remember I was seated to one of my best friends. She's a Brazilian. She's a very great friend of mine until today. And I was asking her, was hat sie denn gesagt? Like, what did she say? What did she just say? And then I'm holding my pen. I start writing letter, let's say L, I write. And then she has gone to the next one. And I'm like, And at the beginning, you're like so confused. You don't know if you should lift your hand and ask. You don't know what to do. You're also shy on one side. Like, kind of, oh my God. It was not easy on the first day. I remember I came home and I was so stressed up. I had headache. I was like, where am I even going to start? Because she covered, within those hours we were in the class from 8 to 3 p.m. Of course, with some breaks. But the kind of topics that she covered within that day, I was like, Jesus, I'm dead. I came home. I remember all the papers, they were just lying on the table. Remember, you have a kid who is waiting for you at home also. And I'm like, where am I going even to start? I started taking my books, opening and trying to read. I could not understand anything. And I'm like, Jesus, do you even know German? Can you even speak the language, my friend? How are you going to make it? Fine. Okay. You know what? I didn't lose hope. I was like, it's gonna be fine. You just calm down. Maybe the second day was the same. Actually, the first month of my class was like kind of, I was so confused. I didn't know what to start and where to do. We did like 3 weeks class, and then they sent us to the first stations in the hospital, and we were separated, all of us. Everybody went somewhere. We were like 5 students each in each ward. The practicals started, and so they started explaining. But believe you me, it's like you don't have time to learn because you're full-time in the school, and then you come home, you're also full-time mom. And then on the other side also, she even announced that after the practicals, we were doing the practicals for 2 weeks. After those 2 weeks practicals, we are going to do our first exam. And I was like, are you kidding me? Fine. What I did, and I am so thankful that I did this I made this decision, is I talked to this Brazilian girl and I was like, girl, we have to hold each other's hands. We have to fight because this thing is not easy. She told me, oh yeah, me too, I'm so confused, I don't know where to start and all these things. And then there was one guy who was sitting on my left. One guy was sitting there, and then on my right was the Brazilian girl. So on the left, this guy, he actually was doing the course because he was waiting for his study as a doctor, which in Germany you have to wait for many years before they admit you in the university. So he decided to do the nursing course, like kind of just for fun before he gets the study place. So this guy was very clever. Oh. I said, you know what? I don't care if you're young. I don't care if you're better than me, but I'm going to nag you. You're my sitting neighbor. And believe you me, when we sat in the class, nobody was changing places. Everybody was staying where they used to sit. So I turned my back and I was like, he was called Jonathan. I told him, Jonathan, my friend, you have to help me. Oh, I cannot make it. Please, me, I'm an African. I come from Kenya and you know it. Me, I was not born in this country. Please, you have to help me. And then he watched me. He was such a cool guy. He was like, yeah, Joyce, I can help you. What do you need help? And I told him, me, I don't get anything. Oh, everything this teacher is saying is like he's just passing here like this and going. And he was like, don't worry, I'm going to help you. Any question you have, just come and ask me. Then I asked him, would you mind maybe if we formed a study group? Maybe you and then she, the Brazilian girl, and then we can ask in the class maybe anyone who wants to join us, but the group should not be more than 6 people. And then he said, yeah, definitely, it's even better. This is how we are going to help each other. And then we formed this study group. You're going to see the pictures. We formed the study group and then we started studying together. It is a very major help. Guys, if you're studying, try and talk to these kids. Try and talk to these Germans and hold them. Let them help you. They know you. They understand that you're not coming from this country. They understand that you don't speak their language so well. Express yourself. This is one point that really has helped me in life. For me, I don't keep quiet. If I go to any office, I ask them. Because I came out to ask, for Germans, it's like you have to push them a bit. Just try and catch like 3 or 4 of them. Tell them, my dear brothers and sisters, you know me, I'm not a German. Oh, please help me. Help me. Let's study together. Believe you me, Germans are really open people. They are just shy. They're just shy, and some of them, it depends on how they were brought up. But this young generation, they are always ready to help. Be friendly with them, try and go and joke with them a bit. Be a bit crazy with them. They like this kind of stuff. Oh. I was disturbing this guy. This Jonathan, the many times have choked him in the class and asked him, what did she say? And then he would tell me, you wait, I'll tell you later. And we stayed in the same class for 3 years together. And believe you me, guys, this thing was really, really, really helpful. Don't be shy in the class. If the teacher asks something, by the time you as an African, when they ask something, by the time you try and translate it and understand what she was saying, you come and answer questions. These children have already answered. Most of the time, I was raising my hand late. And these ones have already answered. I don't care. I raise my hand and then the teacher will say, yeah, say. Then I will say it and then she'll say, okay, this one she has already answered, but thank you. But this kind of motivation, this kind of showing that you're there is very important, guys. Ask questions. Follow those teachers. If you do not understand something, ask them. Form those study groups and you're really going to make it. At home, you have to learn extra because this thing is not easy, especially the language. In these 3 years of study, I lost a lot of friends because I could not go for the birthdays, could not go for the parties, but it is what it is. Those friends who I lost, it was okay. They were not meant to be in my life. After my course, I got new friends who understand me and who know who I am. If you waste any kind of hours somewhere else, you're really going to occupy the time. So most of the time, what I used to do from Monday to Friday is the class. So after the class, we used to close at 3 p.m. my daughter was closing her kindergarten by 4 p.m. So what I used to do from 3 p.m. after we closed the school, I sit down with a study group. We study like for 45 minutes, and then I take my car, I drive, go and pick my child. It's a very, very, very important tip. And if the study group, sometimes those guys will have maybe some appointments, just sit down in the class. It's quiet. Nobody is going to ask you. Sit down in the class and try and learn what you guys learned that day. Note it down. Do some small notes for yourself. Understand it, and believe you me, you're going to make it. I'm going to be sharing more about how it all went and where we were sent and everything that we did and how interesting it was. I hope you enjoyed this video. Just subscribe and don't forget to click that notification bell so that you'll be notified when I send new videos. I hope this was interesting. I hope you got something, and I hope you got somebody who is studying somewhere, got some tips. I appreciate you all. Take care of yourselves and stay healthy, especially during this pandemic time. I love you guys. Mwah.